So it looks like we have some new faces and some old faces, and how wonderful
old.
Yeah. We have some returning faces.
Some seen before faces.
Thank you, Patty. I appreciate that. And welcome back. Mark, are you with us there? I see your name, and here comes Diane. Welcome. Oh, and then there's some more people. All right. So welcome to Contemplative Writing. What is the name of our class? Contemplative Writing. Okay, yes. So before we even get started, let's make sure everyone knows how to mute and unmute. So if everyone can do that real quick. Alana, are you all right? All right. Rita, perfect. Okay, great. So right now everyone's muted and it looks like our technical problems are gone. Wonderful. Okay, great. So welcome to Contemplative Writing with 52 Codes for Conscious Self-Evolution. With Kristina Amelong. It's so wonderful to have each and every one of you here. And this is our biggest group ever. So obviously we're all onto something and doing amazing work here. So let us bow to begin with the presence of ourselves being embodied, as well as welcoming into our hearts and homes and writing spaces, all the other beings that are here with us. So, bow to begin. All right. Could people who, well, let's just everyone say their name just as a presencing. So I am Kristina Amelong, and actually where we live, I live in Madison, Wisconsin in the United States. So let me see, I will unmute people as to keep this organized, and we're gonna start with you, Marilyn. Oh, that didn't work. So you're gonna have to unmute yourself. All right.
I'm Marilyn Anhalt, and I'm in Lincoln, California, in the U.S.
All right, welcome, Marilyn. Allie?
I'm Allie Laceman, the technical director. If you have any questions, you can message me. I am from Madison, Wisconsin.
All right, Melissa?
Hey, I'm Melissa Underwood, and I'm currently in Westport, Connecticut.
Welcome, Melissa. Alana?
Good morning, I'm Alana, and I'm near Eureka, California on the Northern California coast.
Beautiful. Rita?
I'm Rita, and I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
All right, welcome, Rita. It's great to have you here. Christine?
Hi, everyone. Christine Tiberti, and I'm from Bradenton, Florida, West Coast. So happy to be here.
Very happy to have you, Christine. Thank you. Christine? You're muted, honey.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Christine Medici, and I live in Newport, Rhode Island right now.
All right, welcome. Patty?
I'm Patty Zachary, and I live in Springfield, Oregon.
Beautiful. Lynn?
I'm Lynn Tranchel. I live in Buffalo, New York.
Beautiful. Welcome, Lynn. Diane? You're muted, hon. You got to unmute.
Here. My name's Diane Gossley. I live in Louisiana. Right now, I'm in Lake Tahoe, and I have to catch a plane today, so I'm going to have to leave early, but I didn't want to miss it.
All right. Welcome.
Thank you.
And it does look like the technical challenges like that. Go ahead and Diane. Okay. So we may or may not have to think about this more, Allie, over time. Okay, Marcia. You're still muted. Do you know how to unmute yourself? Still muted. It's in the bot. There you go.
Am I okay?
Yes.
I
Oh, good.
unmuted you, Marcia, but
Yeah.
your mute button is in the bottom left-hand corner.
All right. I was going in the wrong place. Okay. I'm Marcia and I live in London. And yes, it's quite exciting to be here.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Welcome. Glad to have some of
So-
our European friends with us. Beautiful. Thank
So
you.
I've got to find that button now to mute myself.
Bottom left-hand corner. There's a little microphone that.
Yeah, not on mine, unfortunately. So your
Okay.
colleague, please mute me.
Allie. All
Allie,
right.
mute me.
Vicky.
I'm Vicki Bates, and I'm in Kansas City, Missouri, the heart of America.
All right. Welcome, Vicky. And last but not least, not Mark.
I don't know how I'm going to get that off there. Do you know how I'm going to get that off there? But my name's Sarah, and if I write on when we do on the chat occasionally, I write as Sarah N. And I live, Marcia, I live in the UK. I live over on the border, near Wales. So hi everyone, good to see you.
So beautiful. Good evening to you guys. And thank you everyone for joining us. So before we begin, we're going to have a 5-minute meditation. And before we begin our meditation, did anyone bring a candle? All right. So for those of us who have a candle, let us together light this candle and just feel into in our bodies, in this space, in the physical space that we're inhabiting, yet another invitation to go even deeper with each other and all that is emergent. All right. So just setting down the candle, and Allie will time us for 5 minutes during the meditation. See if you can have your back straight, and however it is that you find presence in your body and a stilling of your mind. I'm going to enter into that now for 5 minutes.
I'm going to ding the bowl at the beginning of the meditation and ding it as we're coming out.
Thank you, Allie.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back, everyone. So at the heart of conscious self-evolution is this question, what is emergent? Just like science points to with what they're calling the Big Bang, to quarks and neutrinos and electrons and masses of gases and stars and exploding stars and planets and all of this. How can we live into that same quality of emergence in our bodies, in our daily lives, and the choices that we make, all the way to how we set up culture and how we solve our crises. So this space is all about creating we space where people have more freedom to find that emerging voice. So some of the ways that we nurture that is obviously through writing and the creative process. And in that is you keep writing during the time. So we're going to be using Barbara's code here, 41, that you guys worked with last night. And as you're working with it, just don't let anything stop you. Make it so nothing can blow you away. Whether you write, I hate this, or this is dumb, or to the prompt or not to the prompt, or something that you just feel needs to be shared, it's totally 100% up to you. A nice thing to come back to is the senses. I see, I touch, I feel, I hear, I remember as well. And use original detail as much as you're able to fill these with your own personal stories. So on that note, does everybody have paper and pen or pencil or however they want to write? Everybody set? All right. All right. So the structure is I read the whole of the prompt, and then Allie will set the time for 20 minutes, and then we'll have a 5-minute break where you can either keep writing or break, stretch, pee, get water, and then we'll come back. And then we have 12, 14 people. So Diane, could you just use your hands to tell me, are you leaving, like, are you leaving, when are you leaving? Like mostly towards the end, or maybe you have to unmute. I think.
Around 11:15, but I'm going to try in the car going down the mountain to click to my phone.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to work.
Okay, so
we'll have
we'll
an hour drive.
Okay, and you have an hour with us now, and
yeah,
and it does seem like it's your connection that's giving us the technical difficulty. So
okay, let me turn these earphones and
maybe that's it. Yeah, earphones. Okay, wonderful. So we'll include you. So we'll definitely share in this group at least one of somebody's writing, and then from there we'll go into either 2 or 3 breakout groups. Okay, depending on where we're at with time. All right. So I shall start reading the code and have fun with it, you guys. Code 41. Reside in the new, in the now, unfolding at the edge of evolution. Keep continuity of consciousness with the communication you are receiving on a continuous basis, every second. Live with a poised mind, allowing the self to come through all the time. As you learn to integrate the higher mind with the mental mind and the body, be present as the presence of the full potential self spontaneously unfolding within you as the guidance is experienced. Thank you, Barbara, for putting those words down so we could work on them, and many blessings to your writing. Allie, you can gong and hit the timer, please.
now it's time for our 5-minute break. So feel free to finish what you're writing, to get up, use the bathroom, make yourself comfortable, whatever you'd like. I'll ding the bowl in 5 minutes. See you then.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. So a few tips and thoughts about both reading your work as well as giving feedback. So, and this is in many ways, well, it's absolutely just as core to what we're emerging here as the writing itself is this being witnessed through sharing and through the feedback. So this is something we're all always developing. So know that oftentimes as we learn about listening and giving feedback, there's a lot of resistance and thoughts about how we're doing it poorly or how it should be done. But really what you're doing is you're just practicing listening and seeing how you are affected by the person's writing. Ideally, we reflect back to people something that was powerful, something that moved us, something that we can't let out of our mind. And we want to try to keep it short and specific to the writing itself, not, that reminded me of my grandmother or whatnot, because that ends up getting away from the direct experience of the writing and this moment and into our own stories. So just that practice in and of itself is somewhat like meditation, right? Because we're really just sort of coming back to the person and the person's expression that we heard. I find it very helpful while people are reading to take a few notes so that I have something to refer back to. It's fine if you don't hear everything that someone has read because it happens quickly and there's a lot going on. So listen from the heart, listen for the sense of the whole and a spaciousness, listen for words that repeat, listen for changes in tone of voice where there's like these hot spots, maybe where you say that's something that you might love to dive deeper into in the future that you'd love to hear about, and stick to I statements as much as possible. And again, know that giving feedback is an art, and we're continually developing that. And also know that because there are 5, 6 other people who will be giving feedback, you don't need to give all the feedback because it'll usually come up yet again. So and also confidentiality is a key part of the safety here and the process that we're in. So we are recording and we do share this video, but anyone who doesn't want that as part of this process, know that you can let us know that, and we can take out the section of your sharing. And also, because we're going to be doing breakout groups, I believe the only people that will be recorded are the people that are in my breakout group, because it's my computer that's recording. So if you have a preference right off to not be recorded, then you can, I think you might be able to ask to be in Allie's breakout group. Okay, great. So just to give us all a sense of being united here, let us go ahead and invite one person to share right now in the group. And wait, about reading, it's great if you go slowly and read your work slowly and go even more slowly than you think you might need to, okay? There's plenty of time for your writing, and any feelings that come up are welcome. You can pause and cry, whatever needs to happen. And thank you for trusting the space and being vulnerable. So whoever is moved to share, and Melissa, we'll just do 2 breakout groups so you know that. Okay. So who would like to share before we go into our breakout groups? You can just unmute yourself or raise your hand. Melissa, go ahead. Hi.
Here we go. Time disappears here, in this place. Souls lost, looking to be found. It's a waiting game. How can it be both the past, present, and future all at the same time? When visiting, many look to the past, cherished memories of her, sneaking out the back window, hitchhiking to her friend's house, taking dad's prize Porsche without permission, the baseball bat, and the closet door. So many stories of her expressed with love. Laughter is good medicine. But when the laughter stops, we're transported back to the present, the now moments, the bed, the TV, the vomiting, the doctors. This place is where people come to die. Even though this place is here and now, it's nice, no. Comfortable, no. Scary, yes. It's still better than moving into the future, a future without her, a funeral, her boys alone. It's best not to go there, so we sit, and the time slips away, 1 second after another. I keep myself as connected as possible. I look at her without judgment most of the time. She's so ill, she's dying. It's a choice she has made. I respect her choice. When she's sleeping, I close my eyes, connecting to my higher self and hers. We chat, we laugh. She won't remember when she wakes up, but she told me to look for rocks, heart-shaped rocks. Those will be our secret connection, a sign she is near. We laugh and laugh, free from our bodies, free to be 2 souls on a journey together. Time disappears here. People come and go, passing from one world to the next. It makes perfect sense, yet it's confusing as hell. Soon we will leave this place. She will go home, her true home. The rest of us will go back to the places we live, and the future will become the now. I close my eyes and surround this place with love. I smile at the patients and families. I hold positive thoughts of their futures and wish for them love and laughter and healing. I acknowledge the ones I can't see with my eyes, the ones filling the rooms and hallways, waiting with open arms to welcome their loved ones to the light. Time disappears here. It makes perfect sense. We are in a portal to and from worlds. Although it is sad for some, it's also magical, for soon they will be able to see. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. I give thanks that I am no longer blind. I'm still alive, and I see. I can truly see.
Thank you, Melissa. Would you like feedback?
Yes, please.
All right. So the way that process works, and folks who have been here before can just jump right in and start sharing. It's kind of like popcorn. Whoever's moved just jumps in. So you have to unmute yourself, and you can go ahead and just give a few words of feedback. And I'll be right back. You guys go ahead.
I'll go. That was lovely. And I actually tried writing some things down. Souls lost, looking to be found. And when you brought, I don't know how you said the sentence, how can past, present, and future all be the same time? You put that into life. You showed the past, present, and future in your writing, and explained how all those happen at the same time. And it was a lovely experience for me to see that and feel that through your eyes. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you, Patty. Next.
Yeah, I can go next. I liked it when you said that when the laughter, or I don't know if I like it, but I noticed when you said then the laughter stops, you come back to the present. And that everything that was going on is still better than the future. And then I loved it when you were in that place of the two of you talking, two souls on a journey together, and talked about the portal and that it's magical. So that was a great story. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. I'll go.
Oh, Melissa, excuse me.
Go ahead, Christine.
Just have a few things to say. It was absolutely beautiful. I understand your situation. The few things that I picked up are how beautifully you combined the past, present, and future. And it ran through back and forth, back and forth. And I feel that you are more accepting now than you were the last time I saw you. And for that, I'm very happy. Couple of sentences. Time disappears here. It makes perfect sense. You said that at least twice, I think, and that is really something I'd like to know more about. Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. All right, I also, that line, just beautiful. I'm so moved in my body. Wow. Time disappears here again. And the lists that you had, which brought in the past to the present, and also the profundity of the situation, the bed, the TV, the vomiting. This is where people come to die. And then the reason I left is because I have this heart-shaped draw. Get it?
Thank you.
So that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
Melissa, I want to acknowledge your vulnerability and thank you for sharing it with us. It's through the vulnerability of people like you that we can feel into these deeper experiences, and it's really something. It's really moving, and it's a part of life that will touch us all. And some things that stood out from your writing. I really love the heart-shaped rock when you connected with your higher self while your sister's sleeping. I think that's beautiful. And how you acknowledge the ones you can't see with your eyes. I had such a strong image in my head when you were talking about that, the past and present and now and future all together in a space, and just souls on a journey. Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you, Allie.
Really. Anyone else inspired to share before we move on?
Yeah, Melissa, I was so transfixed that I forgot to write any notes, but I did remember as other people were talking, and that line about time disappearing and the way Christine so eloquently pointed out how you said that you wove it. It's like you were a time weaver, and it makes perfect sense that if you weave the past, present, and future together, that it would disappear, because each one only can exist with the as in reference to the other, I guess. But I'm just very moved by how you're containing this whole event in your life, and with so much courage and beauty. And yeah, I'm really blown away by that. And I think that there's no coincidences. And the fact that Kristina had this gigantic, that's a boulder, that's not a hard rock, hard boulder. It must be because your sister must just love you so much. It's big love that she showed up in a boulder first rock.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Anyone else?
I always love your writing. It is beautiful and eloquent. And I also love the time disappears here. It makes perfect sense. But it also made me go back and look at the code. And you so eloquently expressed the code exactly, even to the edge of evolution, that she was going home and you all were going back where you live. So it was absolutely incredible and perfectly timed with the code. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any of the new people want to try giving feedback before we split up? If you're moved.
I would.
All right, Alana.
I like that comment about bringing it back to the code, because I was having trouble articulating how moved I was by what I just heard. But I was feeling it energetically, and when it got brought back to the code, I feel like you just, with the lightest touch of energy, swept the edge of the evolving unknown for me. I feel like you just swept the edge free. Thank you.
Thank you.
Whoa. All right. Are we complete? Melissa, do you want to add anything?
Just thank you all very much. I appreciate you listening. And I'm complete.
All right.
Thanks for the rock too. The rock rocked.
Thank you. Okay, Allie, you want to do your magic, and we'll see you all both very soon, and also like 5 minutes before the end of the class, Allie, so in 50 minutes. So let us.
Okay, I'm putting us into breakout groups now.
All right, look at that. Okay. So now I'm gonna shut the door because there's a little echo. All right, so who would like to share?
I can share.
All right, then.
Okay. And just so you know, Kristina, when you speak, you're kind of garbled, like you sound like an alien kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's worse now.
Oh, it's worse. Okay, well, why don't you read Allie, and you figure that out over time.
Okay.
Thanks.
So, what is emergent, being, or becoming prominent? Reside in the new, in the now. This fits in perfectly with my commitment to stay in infinite potential, that space of all possibilities. I have been so stuck in circumstance lately. My tax audit, my coaching business, ambit energy. When I slip into circumstance, I feel discomfort in the pit of my stomach. Shift back, pure being. Ah, now I smile. I feel happy and light and creative, in service to the good of everyone concerned. Let go, stay in the flow. I visualize myself like an otter laying on my back, flowing down the water. Water is important to me. I remember all the fun times on the sailboat I owned. Sailing, warm breezes, surfing in heavy wind, swimming in light air. I loved sharing this experience with others. I've started asking, how can I bring fun into this? Shift whatever circumstance to fun, happy. This keeps me in infinite possibilities. Stay there until I'm ready to collapse the wave at just the right moment. Be and do. I send calming energy to Hurricane Florence. By the time she reaches Megan, she has rain and a bit of wind. I send the same to everybody in North Carolina. In the new, in the now, and yet stay in possibilities. Massive action from this place. Connecting to people, sharing with people, supporting, seeing the infinite, emerging from this place, oneness. I look out at the brightness, blue skies, fluffy clouds, green leaves, signs of summer while we transition to fall. Closing the pool, pears dropping in my yard, deer eating the pears, leaves changing and dropping, all signs of fall along with the remnants of summer. When I had my sailboat, fall didn't happen until November, when my boat went into winter storage. Lingering seasons, new seasons. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Would you like feedback?
Yes, please.
Melissa.
Thank you for sharing. I wrote down a lot of things. I like the words infinite potential, which you brought a storm analogy in later, and I'm just realizing how that fits in with the storm. Like there's infinite potential for that storm. You went from stuck in circumstances and tax audit and these other things, and you could feel the energy go down, and then you just brought it right back up until you were swimming in water. You just flipped it around, like you said, shift back to happy, service to the good. And then I really loved, how do I bring fun into this? Something that we can all learn to do in terms, how could this possibly be fun? But it is. And then you said, you were talking about the storm and then massive action. And then I kind of had this little idea that you are the storm, and you're taking, even though it seems small, you're taking massive action to change the new in the now. You are the storm. And then just all the metaphors of like the lingering seasons you're leaving behind and going into the new. So there were like great things all over the place. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
I also, I felt and reacted to the continuity of the the water and wind imagery through everything you were talking about. For me, you were sailing the whole time. You would, you know, talk about your pragmatic things in the way I was perceiving and hearing you. You were sailing, and the wind stopped, and then the wind blows up, and you float on the surface of the water, and then the hurricane comes, and it was a wonderful cruise. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that was just the best I've ever heard from you. I loved it. We have a couple of things in common. The otter is one of my most favorite animals. I think they're just adorable. And I'm a sailor, so I followed you right along. I think you did a beautiful job. I particularly loved shift whatever circumstance into fun and calming and to great hope, great future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Rita?
I really enjoyed too, and found some of the things that I wrote down was it felt like you were vacillating between discomfort and happy. And you know, in the service to wanting to be available. And when you talked of water, it was so important to you, you said, and there was such joy in your voice. It just, I felt so light and so happy. And then when I would kind of feel the other coming in, I just felt such sadness on you. And I also liked the deer eating the pears, where your fall is shortening, where your summer was longer when you were younger, and the sailing is what determined the time that it would end. And yeah, I thought it was very interesting how you told so much of a story in there. So thank you. I enjoyed it very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. Horrible. I stay with this, or I unplug this headset, try that.
Yeah, try to unplug.
Okay, just a minute. Okay, here I am.
Oh, much better.
Is that much better? Okay.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Okay, so infinite potential and how you stepped into what I feel is kind of what we're all wrestling with, which is having our feelings, being in the world right now, and exploring the self in service to the good of everyone concerned, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
How the hell are we fucking doing this shit? You know, right? While Hurricane Florence is barreling down on our beloveds. And I'm wondering who Megan is. When you said that name, your voice crackled with feeling. My son is also in North Carolina, so I'm right there with you. And
that's my daughter. My daughter is in Raleigh.
So yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Whether we have beloveds there or not, all of our beloveds are there, and we are witnessing and praying and being in service to feelings and devotion and deer and pears dropping in our yard and sailboats and expression. So thank you, Lynn, for being part of that. And would you like to say, well, the phone caller is back. Phone caller, do you want to try giving feedback on Lynn? Or if not, that's fine, because probably you didn't track everything, but I just want to invite you. And I'm sorry, I forgot your name. All right. Well, if you pop in, great. If not, we're happy to have you here listening. Lynn, would you like to say anything before we complete?
Well, just the pears falling. The pears are my neighbor's tree, And it used to really annoy me that the pears would fall in my yard and I had to pick them up. And then I discovered one year there was a groundhog that ate them. And then I discovered that deer just came into my yard and ate them. So I invite the deer to eat, or whatever animals, to eat the pears from my neighbor's tree.
All right. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Who would like to go next?
I can try.
Christine, please.
To live with a poised mind, allowing the self to come through all the time, is a tall order. But thank goodness to Barbara for reminding us of this very important task, so necessary for full emergence. Reminders like this really do work to help me remember how patient I must be with myself if I am to succeed and be able to help others emerge as uomo d'amore universalis. I had thought that I had pretty well conquered the art of patience, claiming to have learned it during my 8 years living in Greece. Outside of Athens on the sea, my street address was Terpsichoris number 12, the 12 dancing muses. There I learned that I could not pay my bills by mail, and certainly not online, as this was before computers. Instead, one had to stand in line at the post office to pay telephone, electricity, car insurance, etc. The first few months I seethed with impatience and anger at all the time I was wasting. But I soon learned that my serenity and joy were worth much more than my impatience. And now, so many years later, I find the subject of my own ability to be patient once again taking space in my mind. Code 41 and all of these gifts of previous codes are what are guiding me in my journey to integrate my higher mind. Watching for a bit more time each day to meld with it my mental mind and body. I find that if I make a verbal, either silently or out loud, invitation, it helps to allow my higher self to be in command. It's a way to trick myself with politeness so I can accept the command. Kind of how I used to conjugate Greek verbs to myself while waiting in line in the post office of Paleophaleron, Greece. That way it wasn't so guilty of wasting time. I had finally learned that what is the waste of time is the feeling of guilt.
Thank you, Christine. Would you like feedback?
Yes, please.
Wonderful. I can go. So I loved how you opened with gratitude to Barbara, and how necessary it is that we have these spaces to strengthen the unfolding, the emergence that is happening in so many people right now. So that was beautiful. And then you're living in Greece. There's something just so alluring about that, so enchanting, and I always want to hear more. And one of my favorite bits was when you said, kind of like I used to conjugate Greek words. And then, of course, your whole exploration about choosing to perceive what time is and how we relate to it. So you keep writing, girlfriend, and thank you. Next.
Thank you, Kristina.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I can go.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Alana.
This is really short, and I was really struck by what felt to me like clarity and intention. And that's all I know how to say about how I react to that, but it seemed really clear and intentional.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Alana. Melissa?
Thank you, Christine. One of the things you said was the art of patience. And I think that set you up for the rest of the piece. And the one thing that I really enjoyed was imagining in my mind you standing in that line, because I have no concept too of like, not being able to pay my bills by mail or not being able to pay them online. So it was a really lovely image of you standing in that line, even though at the time it was challenging and difficult. And then to imagine you conjugating those verbs and keeping your mind busy. I love that whole image. I like seeing you in that light too, a new side of you that popped out. So thank you very much.
Thank you, dear Melissa.
Yeah, and I really like the fact that your address was 12 Dancing Muses. And it's sort of, in thinking about it just now, it's sort of like that was kind of the way you weave the whole story. You wanted to be in the poised mind all the time. You want to be helpful and patient. And yet you were stuck in this place of feeling like you were wasting time, and you could shift that into serenity and joy. So it's sort of like you were weaving these dancing muses going back and forth between the waiting in line, being impatient, and then at the end you said, guilt is the waste of time. So that was great. Thank you.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thank you, Lynn. Rita?
I also thought it was an interesting weaving back and forth. At one point you said between the mental mind and the body, and it was conversation back and forth. And you're dealing with the impatience, the anger, and yet the acceptance. One of my favorite lines you said was, patience is taking space in my life. It just touched my heart really deep. And I also love that feeling, wasting time, feeling guilty is the real waste of time, which is so true. So thank you.
Thank you, Rita.
Thank you.
Christine, would you like to say anything?
Just thank you again to all of you.
You're very welcome. Thank you. All right. Rita or Alana, would you like to?
I can go.
All right.
Okay. What is new with me? What's new is noticing the judgment and becoming aware that's an old program. I'm choosing the new, moving into love, spending the time to practice, loving myself more, not staying with the old patterns, but being with the old in the way that I'm including it as being part of my pattern. But how can I move to the new? What would make me more fulfilled? What I need is more space to include spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. What is happening right now in me, the spiritual, I feel love for the embodiment of the gift to be part of this evolution. Support, I feel mentally, of wanting this experience and deepening my commitment. Emotion, to be in the joy of the new, to express through these feelings in the body that are free and supportive by my awareness of how deep this commitment runs it's a thread that's weaving a new story of caring, kindness, space for difference, realizing as I care for me, I'm taking care of the outside. What's within is without. Physically, the awareness of tremendous opportunity to be living at this time, realizing the importance of caring for this body so it may house the space for creativity to start to come up with a new way, that I'm committed to sharing what's coming to me in song, painting, writing, whatever channel it comes through. I'm here and I'm available.
Thank you, Rita. Would you like feedback?
I would.
Awesome.
Rita, that softened my heart so much. The words, the feeling of it. I even teared up with the richest, warmest tears, and I just felt that in my heart so strongly. Thank you.
Thank you, Alana.
Thank you.
Lynn?
Yeah, I like when you said at the beginning you're moving from the old program to love and moving to the new. And that there was a thread weaving the new story, and then you sent it at the end that you're here and you're available. So it was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to echo what Lynn just said. I had a lot of that written down, and I have in capital letters free and supported. Free yet supported at the same time. I also loved I am here and I am available. And then it seemed to me, I just wanted to point out, you said weaving a new story. It seems like today that's kind of a theme for all of us. That word keeps coming up each time someone reads, and it just seems like we are together as a group with each one that participates weaving the story together. We're free, yet we're supported by each other. So that's what I got from that. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Christine, you muted yourself again.
Thank you. I was very impressed with your commitment, your clarity. I think someone said that word about my writing, but I find it much more true in yours. You seem to be very clear about where you stand and what your plans are and how you're going to give. What's within is without. I was really delighted with hearing your writing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. I also echo everything that everyone said and write that last line of your total devotion. I am here and I am available, right? That mantra that I feel like we all are living in. I am here and I am available. And I want to add in that being able to witness that presence, like the way you represented that in your words, like I felt your whole life. I felt your whole mind. I felt your whole body. I felt your whole presence. And it just moves me very deeply, and I feel strengthened. Another one of my favorite lines was weaving a story, caring, kindness, space for the difference. Thank you, Rita.
Thank you. I really appreciate the feedback. It touches me also, because I'm shy about doing something like this. So I'm grateful. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Rita. Are you complete?
Yes.
All right. Alana, would you like to read?
Well, I don't know if like's the right word, but I think I should. I'm feeling kind of funny about it. I'm surprising myself because in this whole process of these 52 codes, this is my first stepping forward to try to put words to what's been a very experiential process for me, and it seems generic. So I really truly don't remember what I wrote. I started out just like you directed, trusting the process and not stopping. So here we go.
All right, thank you. And take your time. We're doing
Okay.
on time.
It tickles my nose, this effervescence, as the breezes stir the others. I remember my heart. No, our heart, the one heart. How could one have forgotten what it feels like to flow with the one heart in one creative, co-creative love? Becoming who I've always been is silly good fun now that I stopped judging myself for it. The veil is thinning, and I truly feel poised to remember fully with divine intention and wisdom and blend in the true heart of the remembered divine family. I belong to creative belonging and burble with co-creativity, and family within and around me opens arms and welcomes me as far as I intend to go. Unwavering, I intend to become recognizing love and creative potential as it flows and morphs and blooms and glows more inclusively and experientially beyond the words and language. I remember and join the flow to integrate those aspects long conditioned to the illusion of separation. Can it be time? The time we all knew was coming? Can we remember the future so fully into this moment that we never forget it again? Can I hear the collective song singing ourself fully? Can I remember with constant recall to sing my unique part of our creation chorus? The fondest wash of rejoining tickles like it's always been. I kick the blocks of outdated and dense illusion that don't serve my complete rejoining into the light to be repurposed as love. I breathe in the higher tickle, nostrils flaring, enervated, becoming what I've always been, poised and open to my unfoldment into the evolving creation in love. I feel the edges. It's hard to be patient and stay poised instead of open, rather than leaping and flapping and screeching with the chaotic joy of being on the edge of something so long anticipated. My integrated highest potential self remembered, I open my eyes and look around to see to what my heart is connected. I still myself and listen for the guidance emerging and call on myself and my guiding family of love to speak to my heart. Open I am as I begin to remember fully how and why I came to be here, as life explores itself and remembers that love is the substance of all that gets co-created. Use knowing rather than knowledge to move into newness. Use intelligence rather than intellect to express divine wisdom.
Thank you, Alana. Beautiful. Would you like feedback?
Yes, thank you.
Nina?
I was very touched by your knowing. As you wrote, it was your knowing. I felt your knowing, and some of the things like one heart flows with, the heart flows with one heart. There were so many lines singing creation with into the chorus. There were so many lines that you said, feeling the edges, that all I kept thinking was a knowing that you have of something deeper that is emerging. And that really, I just loved how you phrased your things. The tickling of the nose just delighted me. So thank you. It was beautiful.
Thank you, Rita.
Well, I think that was just incredibly wonderful. I wrote so many things down, but above all, I loved your reading of it. You read it so beautifully and so perfectly. I'll just mention a few things. Silly good fun. What a wonderful phrase. The veil is thinning. True heart of the divine family, welcome me as far as I intend to go. Wow. Can we remember the future into the higher thinking? I could go on, but I don't want to take time. I really, really appreciated your writing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kristina. Melissa?
I wanted to say, one of the things that I wrote down was it welcomes me as far as I intend to go. I like that because as you learn more and more, you get a little closer and closer to where you intend to go, but not too fast, just at your own pace. Also, the long condition to the illusion of separation, that was very powerful to me. And then that's countered with all the lightness of the tickling. So, we've been conditioned in this way of being separate, but you got this little tickle, this little lightness that's lifting you up, and you bring the tickle in several times. And to me, it made me feel lighter. It's like, yeah, we're conditioned to all this stuff, but there's something so much lighter and better out there for us. And it's, if you're willing to, it'll just tickle you and you can have fun. And I really love the last line, use knowing rather than knowledge. So many try to be cerebral in their thinking. They know, what they've been taught, but there's a deeper knowing. And I think that you brought that up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Lynn?
Yeah, the first thing I have written down is tickle effervescence. So you can feel and sense that tickling effervescence. And I also have belong to creative belonging. I like that too. And that it morphs, blooms, and glows. And I like that you use tickle a bit. You use tickle more than once. And then the last thing I have written down is open I am. So that was great.
Thank you. So Alana, I iterate what everyone said. Those lines, like silly good fun, that I've stepped into. The veil is thinning. Can I hear the collective song? Kick the blocks. Nostrils flaring. And that was one of the bits that I think was the most powerful for me, is this way that right away you entered with the nose. It tickles my nose. And then you kept coming back to specifically the nose, the nostrils flaring. So I want to reflect that to you, that it felt like your senses and this process in your writing have this merge and integration going on that comes across as silly good fun, really. Okay. So now, if you would like to, you can just say whatever you like about your writing or the experience.
No, just thank everybody for the opportunity to, this is my, I've been going through this process solo. I'm kind of geographically isolated. And so this is my first venture into articulation. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Very brave. I'm very happy to have you here. All right. So caller, do you have an opportunity to read or no? Because if we can hear, there you go.
Am I unmuted?
Yep.
Oh, well, I just got down the mountain so I could reconnect.
All right.
Going to the airport.
Beautiful. Do you want to read your work, or is that not enough?
Okay, I can, and I hope I don't drop
Okay, that's fine. You can go
Do
ahead.
my best. Thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome. And read slowly.
Okay. I feel renewed each time I'm aware that my heart is connected with the cosmic heart of love. I hear her heartbeat rhythm and join in. I feel the connection in every cell of my body. I taste the sweetness of joy and sadness. I smell blossoms of baby's breath emerging into new life each time I go through this renewal process. I see a cycle of birth, death, and renewal in the void of dark energy in myself and in the cosmos. My womb holds the space as part of the universal womb, a tomb of death and a universal uterus growing newness. I hear the precious sound of a new birth cry everywhere. The cycle goes on, and I have learned to ride the emergent circular pattern as life's wave of rebirth. In the darkness of love, as in the loving space between all materiality, the cosmic heart beats in rhythmic impulse to let go of old patterns and create newness. I am still in her womb, yet not emergent this time. I know my new birth will produce life-giving creativity in divine timing. I float in the amniotic fluid of love. I am hopeful, present, and at peace, trusting in divine guidance to develop my potential self. I already see my new gifts I will offer in gratitude to the resonant field of love. I have gone through this emergent cycle so many times before. I can enjoy the process as a labor of love. Thank you all for holding the space in love as midwives for all of our emergence.
Thank you very, very much. We could hear every word, and that was gorgeous. Would you like feedback? Can you hear us okay?
I can, yes, right now. Hope I don't drop it.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we'll start giving you feedback. Could you remind us of your name? Because I've forgotten, and I apologize.
My name is Diane Gosley.
Diane,
from Louisiana.
Thank you very much, sweetheart. Okay.
Yeah, I like this, it was a whole birthing and rebirthing process, being renewed and birth to death to renewal, and your uterus with growing awareness, the cyclical pattern, rebirth. And I love that you said you float in the amniotic fluid of love, and you're seeing your new gifts, you're enjoying the process, and then you brought being a midwife into the whole thing. So it was the whole process of birth, physically, emotionally, and all of that. I thought that was a great weaving of the whole birthing process.
Thank you, Lynn.
I agree with Lynn. And one of the last lines was a labor of love. And I think you beautifully described that throughout your piece, this labor of love. I also like that you pulled in a lot of the senses, what you were tasting and smelling and feeling and hearing. And one line I especially liked was, you can hear the newborn cries everywhere. And I'm just, as people are waking up and just, letting themselves be heard, it's like that newborn cry. So that was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
I also really enjoyed the process of birthing and death that you kept referring to of, and I loved the line, connect every cell of the body. It was so inclusive, and the renewal process, always renewing that birth and the death, and the tomb of the death, that growing newness. You know, there was always just birth and death was just there. And I liked the developing the potential self, and how you're going through another immersion process, and it felt like you were enjoying it and you were just watching yourself go through it, and you've been through it many times, enough times that you know what's happening, and you were including that enjoying of it. So it was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita.
That was great. I was struck by the same things other people are talking about too, but for me, the blend of the senses and the cycle and the rich imagery with the heartbeat in the middle of it, I had this a real sensation of stirring, like stirring a pot of something, energy that was beautiful and thick, like if you were mixing the ingredients for ice cream or something, going round and round with the heartbeat right in the center of it, kind of pulsing up bubbles in the middle of this cyclic circular stirring. That was really, really nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Alana.
I particularly loved the, and I loved all of it. I loved the combination of the cosmic heartbeat and the amniotic fluid of love, the bodily heartbeat. I think you combine those beautifully, which is not an easy thing to do. Float in amniotic fluid of love, midwives for all of our emergence. You wove the bodily human birthing experience with the birthing in the cosmos, which is what I think we're all striving for. And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Diane,
I'm here. Just enjoying the feedback. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Right, you're welcome. And wait just a second, I'm going to give you a little feedback, Diane, and then you can go, which is, yes, I have felt sense of both being inside your womb and then this kind of constant unfolding of then you being inside the universal womb and the universe being inside your womb and me being inside of all of it. And I just feel very happy. So thank you for bringing that down and sharing that with all of us. And would you like to say anything?
Well, I really appreciate the feedback. I have writing dyslexia, and so it's very difficult to get something from my brain into my hand. I can usually orally do it, but I know it was your energy of the resonant field that allowed me to do this in that short time. Thank you. Because on my own, I struggle. It was this resonant field that gave me the power, gave me the empowerment to get it through my hand. I didn't think I could do it, and I joined here to try, and I did it.
Oh, you sure did.
Yes, you did.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for this opportunity.
You're very welcome, and let those sacred tears flow, and I'm right there with you and the power of this process. And I like that phrase, the writing dyslexia. I feel that same thing too. All right, so I will share. I don't know, maybe we'll have just a minute for feedback so people can just kind of pop in with phrases or something that sticks out to them. We don't understand the inner world of the human being, consciousness, experiences, the individual. I open the door. She stands in front of me. This is one of those moments unfolding at the edge of evolution. I feel it as a sensation, as if being here before, as if not wanting to move, as if wishing already this moment could and does be held by eternity. It's 4:20 a.m. A train horn sounds as if I'm on cue and Albert Einstein himself is with us. Welcome, I say, as she steps into my apartment for the second time this week. Would you like a glass of wine? Yes, she says, as I think about how time might actually be more like slices of bread in a loaf of a universe rather than a forward-moving arrow. We step together into the kitchen. I grab the wine glasses from the cupboard and hand her a corkscrew and set the black glass of the wine on the counter. Please, could you open it? Sure, she says, grabbing the neck of the wine bottle. My cat Beauty jumps up on the kitchen counter. I pet her as I watch Denise turn the metal into the cork and then pull, popping out the plug. She hands me the bottle. I pour the first glass and hand it to her. As I pour mine, she leaves the kitchen area of the open floored apartment to sit on the salamander couch. I shiver, a wave of fear. This is brave, I say out loud. Her laughter fills the room like helium as we both erupt into giggles. I sit down on the couch as well, turning to face her. Hi, I say. Hi, she says, as our human sounds become silence and our eyes lock. My mind tells me to look away, but I decide not to look away. I wonder if this uncomfortable space I feel is what it feels like to unfold at the edge of evolution. I know it is an edge for me, inviting a woman from Texas who I've just met a few weeks ago and is now sitting with me at 4:30 a.m. All right, just a minute of feedback. Go, girls.
I have just 3 words that came up for me. Courage, acceptance, and hospitality.
Thank you. Melissa?
I really love the time as the slices in the loaf of bread of the universe. That was lovely.
Rita?
I love to, I open the door and she stands in front of me. And I like it, the train horn is on cue. There were so many wonderful lines in there. It was really nicely done. Laughter fills the room like helium. I loved that too. So thank you. It was great. I could say more, but I want to give the others a chance.
Thank you, Rita, very much. Lynn?
Yeah, I'll just add a couple more to everybody else's. I loved when you said you erupt into giggles and that your eyes lock and then you unfold at the edge of evolution.
Christine?
Who is she? Her laughter fills the room. Wonderful line. And unfold at the edge of evolution also. Though there's so much to say, but I'll stop. Thank you.
Welcome.
I loved the imagery of the wine bubbling up like laughter. I just felt like a bottle of champagne opening its cork and letting it out. That was beautiful.
Thank you very much, Diane. I think we're leaving the break. I guess maybe I'm to do that. Okay, this was awesome. Thank you, everyone. See you in a second. The wonders of technology. Whoa. Whoa. This is fun.
Boop, 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 boop.
Right? There's something very special about all of this. It is more special now. All right. Welcome, everyone. It looks like we've lost Diane, who was called in on the phone, but just so y'all know, she read to us after she drove down the mountain and shared her. So to close, why don't we just have a couple people give appreciations, and then we will bow to close and look forward to reconvening next week. So who would like to just say just a couple short words about their experience here today?
Yeah, it was fun being in the smaller group with this number of people. It was fun to be in that smaller group so that we could interact. And then again, coming back, everybody's just popping in and popping back in together.
Thank you, Lynn.
I'm just really happy to be back with my friends and making new friends. I love you. Thank you.
Right? Me too. Patty?
I'm glad to have this connection again because it was the last group that the first time I did this, that I really realized how powerful these codes are. And to me, this is the example of how to embody them with each other and be seen and heard and be able to practice being who we really are. I'm very grateful to this class.
Thank you, Patty. Looks like your tooth is healing nicely.
Yeah.
Good.
My jaw's sore where I got shot, but it's all good.
Good. Any last person want to say anything before we? Marcia, go ahead. We're going to unmute you, Allie. Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Marcia.
I'm just being, I don't know what's the word. I just want to laugh because it is pretty funny that from the other side of the world, I could come in not having a clue of knowing what I was going to do at all. It's weird, isn't it? It's miraculously weird. So I want to give an appreciation from being miraculously weird. But it is a miracle, isn't it? I mean, that one could join with a group of people, self-selected, who are wanting the same, to embrace the same, out of the ether. Thank you.
Beautifully said. Okay, all right. Because we like to end on time, because Allie?
I just want to say one thing. If you feel the desire to share your work with us, and we would love to post your work to 7 Billion Tribe to inspire other contemplative writers. So if that moves you, if you could submit your work to 7billiontribe@gmail.com, we'd be more than happy to share your work, and then the rest of the class can see it as well. Okay, I'm complete.
Okay.
All right. Let us bow to close. Thank you all for coming together during these 2 hours of very full and rich lives, and opening up and pushing out the evolution of humanity. All right. Have a blessed, blessed week. And
thank you.
we'll be in touch.
Bye.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.